Hi! Fun. Hey, welcome to a new PlugInGuru video. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Tuesday tips number 6. So we now have 3 libraries available for Unify. One at my website by AIRWAVE, Melodic Techno, uses Serum effects, super cool. And 2 libraries available from Particular Sound. A friend of mine, Frank Newman, runs this website. I've worked on various programming things with him in the past. He converted 2 of his libraries into Unify format with samples and patches to do... Now what you're hearing is a combination of Synth Motions, which is synthesizer, retro synthwave kind of stuff, and then his drum grooves, which is right here, which is the drum edition. And I'm going to show you both those libraries real briefly, and then I'll show you the AIRWAVE library. And then the goal of this Tuesday tips is to show you some ideas of things you can do with these. Just so you know, I've got these things that do all this stuff. How do I use this? Because you're not necessarily supposed to just use this just like this. This is an audition, so you can hear the sounds and get ideas of how they work, so then you can plug it into your music and write something with this set of sounds, right? So let's do this. Let's go Synth Motions, Volume 1. Let me cover real quickly. There's 128 samples in this library, so at the end of the list, he has them just listed here as X Basic. This is just a single sample map in Guru Sampler using 3 samples, as you can see, for all 128 samples. And by using these, he created up here all of these cool patches, which are combinations of patches. These are all hybridized, really cool. It's the BPM pad. These are fun. These have all sorts of various ideas of, right? And these are using the arpeggiator, and it's using a melodic melody. You play a note, it plays. If you go down here, you can see fun. You can play with this and come up with all sorts of cool melody ideas really quickly. So it's fun to play with these. The other library that he has created that's really great is the Synth Motions. It has BPM drum kits, 20 drum kits, which have sequences playing parts. Right? And most of them are separated out, so like the hi-hats are different from the kick and snare. So you can mute pieces from different grooves to make something new, which is pretty cool. Back to Miami Vice days. And there's 20. And then these kits, those sounds you heard for Groove 20, you have notes across the keyboard for each of these kits. Right? To play your own groove if you want. So you have them both BPM style or right? You have these to play with. They're great. Highly recommended. I'll pop the link up on the screen. They'll be in the comments. What's fun is to mix these up. I'm going to show you what we can do with some of these patches in working with them to create new things. Let's go to the Synth Motions Volume 1. Let's go to one of these BPM patches, because when you call these up, I want you to notice a couple things. So let's say like an ARP. There's all these ARP patterns, right? And some, as you can see, have something in the left hand, and then they have something in the right hand. So you can have this cool jam, right? Now, if you want to use this for your own song, it's like, I like these sounds. I don't want to play that part. All you have to do, you can hit the bypass button. Here, let's go to this view so we can see. Hit the bypass for the two blue arps, and now you have a split. And I want this bass to be an octave lower, so you can hold down Option and track it. So the idea that's in the arpeggiator is just to show you how the sounds work together. You don't have to stay using that. The other option is you turn it on, and I see we probably got to transpose backed up so it works right. And then go to the arpeggiator and change it. Right? You can just change the melody and go, and now you have, ooh. But you know what I mean? You can spend time, take the length of this. This is currently 32 steps. This only shows you 16 steps, and then you have to go to the next page. So let's shorten this to 16 steps. You can spend as much time as you want coming up with cool arpeggiated melodies with these guys. The other way to use this is to bypass the use of the, in fact, you would probably go over here, and if you just hold Option and click these, they go away. And that will turn off all the assignments quickly to the layers. And then put the bass on one MIDI channel and put these other sounds on MIDI channel 2. And what I'm doing by doing this is I am having it no longer, because they're on two different channels of MIDI talking to each other, I can give this bass the full keyboard range and transpose it back down. And I can have the keyboard range also have the full range to go all the across the whole keyboard like this. And now if I go to Logic, my sequencer that I'm currently using, you could do this with whatever sequencer you're using. There's a way to set it up to be a multi-instrument right here. On track, it's normally set to all. Just change it to 1. And then up here under track, other, new track with next MIDI channel. And all I really need is MIDI channels 1 and 2. So here's 1. So the bass is separated, and so the sound that was a bass and a lead sound on the right is now two completely different sounds, like having two synthesizers running at once. You could do that with any of these. I could go over to here, turn off the ARP, and I have an interesting synth sound. The other thing that you can do is taking it the other direction, and that's called going extreme. Because Unify has one ability that is unique to itself that nobody else can do. Unify can load its own plugin into its own environment. So Unify as a plugin can load other copies of Unify into it. Let's play this. So with 1.0.12 under layer, we have this option now called empty Unify. And that makes a Unify show up as a new layer all by itself. And we could open this up, and I could, well, before I open it up, let me first of all set it up. I want to turn off these are auxiliary buses sitting to delay and reverb that are used by these synth sounds. Whatever I do here, I don't want them going through the synth sounds. I want it to just be the direct signal. So I turn down 1 and 2, and I want this only to play. I'm gonna hold down Control and click, and then play B. So I have just the bass, and then whatever I do with this Unify track is gonna show up just for the bass, because I just want it to be there. So let's go over here to AIRWAVE's library, just for fun. And we could say we wanna have like some sort of a cool BPM bass added from Serum. Now, on top of this, let's go and add another layer of Unify. And let's go to the new rhythm drum edition of the Synth Motions drum edition. And let's find a cool BPM groove. Oh, remember how the first time I remembered? This time I didn't. And so now drums. Turn these down. Okay, so in closing, I want to show you a couple cool things that are kind of fun. I've talked to you and I showed you a little bit about changing the arpeggiator patterns, so forth around, right? And if we go over here and we say, show the MIDI layers, so they expand, there's 7 different arps playing for this groove. And like I mentioned, this is available to download from the free link that I'm showing to you, but you have to have Serum for this to work. Right? Well, by playing with the arpeggiators and changing things around, I'm going to show you something I did. I took it from that and I turned it into reggae, believe it or not. So here's a variation. So cool. So this is available also as a free download, but I also have, if you own the 2 Synth Motion Libraries, I've got some bonuses. 5 different mixes of drums and the bass parts all together. And I'm gonna slow it down. I just see Knight Rider. So there's 5 of these that I've done. So these are all fun to play with. And again, these are just ideas. It'd be very easy to turn off these ARPs, turn off these 2 ARPs. Let's mute the drums for a second. And now I have a bass. They have pump house effects going on them. Right? And then turn on the drums. I have so much fun with these. It's cool. It doesn't have to be for synthwave, but it's really cool synthwave patch sounds. Cool toms, all that stuff. Are you kidding me? Turn off the ARP and oh, I have a Unify in here. So we turn off the ARP here and then turn off the Unify here for the drums. Ooh, that's a lot to turn off. So go over here, bypass. Now they're all playing together, right? So all you have to do is now go to the MIDI channels, say MIDI channel 1, 2. Oh, now these 2 parts are together. So if they're 2 parts together, keep them on the same MIDI channel. MIDI channel 2 is for this one. This is the drum kit. So this would be MIDI channel 3. So now I've split it up. And if you wanted, you could make it so that this was all. and then go into the drum kit here, because there's these different layers, and make this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So by doing that and then having your DAW set up so that I can work on different channels, right? We come back over here. Let's move them over here. There's one drum kit. They're all using the same drum kit. 2, bass, and then 1 for the... And then you'd go over to Unify if you want, and you could change these key ranges so that they all play across the whole keyboard, because they're on different MIDI channels. When you're on different MIDI channels, each channel has the complete keyboard to work with, okay? So now I have it set up to where I have a drum layer, I have the keyboard. See, I was playing these 2 parts. If I change my MIDI channel to MIDI channel 2, and the important part to get this to work is to set up the MIDI channels in Unify, and then make sure you set up your instrument in your DAW. By default, like I said, Logic has this set to all, so it will just pass through whatever MIDI channel it gets, but you need to reroute it by going to MIDI channel under track and set it to 1, and then you just hold down Control and hit return to add additional track. Let's get rid of these real quick. All I have to do is hold down Control and hit return, and each time I do this, it adds another track. So I'm good to go. Okay, so there's 5 patches that are bonus that I'm going to give you a link to in the description. But please remember that you have to have both of these libraries, both the Synthwave Motion drums and the Motion Volume 1 together for these to work. When you have them, they work, okay? So leave questions. This is kind of a big topic of whole working with MIDI channels and multiple tracks in your sequencer. So in closing, the big thing to get from this, I hope, is understanding you can set up each of these layers. See how these 3 sounds are light green on the right? That means they're all playing together. And you can turn off the ARPs right here. And I can mute the drums for a moment. So I hit the M. Using 3 sounds to make 1 sound. So go to this view right here, and you can see that these 3 you would all set to the same MIDI channel. And then have the bass to a different MIDI channel. So these could be 1, bass could be 2. And after you've done that, you can change the keyboard range so that they each play the whole keyboard range. And when you have the whole keyboard range, that light color green disappears, right? And now you can set it up, and now you can use this set of sounds that have been professionally set up, mixed, effects, all this stuff's on it. Now you can start writing your music with these, okay? So that's the point I want to hope that you hopefully get from this. But this is the important fun stuff, is these are templates for you to work with and write your own music. So take these and have fun. That's the whole idea, okay? All right, see you in the next video.